And can you see the slides? Yes, okay. All right. So this is here we have one center, that is Center for Presencing and Design Thinking. So design thinking is what you all have been looking already at. So now what is this presencing? This is a thing which even MIT has been following. So hope I'm audible too. Can somebody type in the chat box? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Thank you. So now presencing, which involves sensing, experiencing, absorbing, and extrapolating the present. That means like now you are in the class, and when your attendance is being taken, you say present ma'am, like that, right? But then when I teach a topic, now right now I'm taking the session, I'm honestly not sure how many of you are really present and connecting to the topic. So that is what is, you are sensing it, you're experiencing, and you're trying to absorb whatever is being taught by extrapolating right now the thing that is being given to you. So this is what is called as presencing. So what exactly are we doing in design thinking is all these concepts we are trying to perceive in the present, keeping in view the future. That is what is called the means presencing. So it is nothing but design thinking is the application of your presencing for a future timeline with a more far sighted. Like for example, if I'm trying to come out with a solution for any problem with using your design thinking or your problem solving techniques, you also think from the future aspects or the far, having a far sight view, you try to solve that problem. That is what is your presencing emphasizes with. Okay, so this is what exactly we do here at the Center for Presencing and Design Thinking. Now we start with design thinking, the basics of design thinking. The first thing that you have in your design thinking is your double diamond process. How many of you, you can type in the chat box, how many of you are already familiar with this double diamond, those who have learned design thinking? If you have learned this as part of your curriculum, how many of you have an idea of double diamond of design thinking? Anyone? If it is yes, please say yes. If it is no, also no problem. You can say no. Can you hear me? No,
Yes,
right. Yeah, okay. All right, right. So that's fine, that's fine. Thank you. So any design thinking, it starts with what is called as double diamond. So the thing is, the double diamond is, first you have to come, there are 4 phases in your design thinking. The first phase says, discover your problem, define your problem, then come up with developing the ideation, where you develop your, you try to come up with your idea. So, and then finally you deliver it to the end user. So these are the 4 phases of any design thinking. Double diamond is discover, define. With discover and define are the first, they are the part of your first diamond. Develop and deliver are the part of your second diamond. So your general problem statement, and from the general problem statement, you try to research, you try to work with your end user, you try to empathize with your end user, and then you define your needs, your values, your touch points, you take out all your insights. So all these are part of your first diamond. And then what I do now, I come out with the specific problems from this, and then I try to come out, ideate. I try to come out with solution. It is not always possible. The solution that I give is always 100% perfect. You know, sometimes my solution may not be correct. I may come up with a very expensive solution, and for the end user, it may not be economically feasible. I may come up with a solution where it may not be feasible technologically. So you have to, whatever ideas you have, everybody has 100 number of ideas. All these ideas are actually made part of it, and then you try to brainstorm on these ideas, and then finally you come up with some specific solutions. From the specific solutions, you try to build prototypes, and on this prototype you try to come up with a what do you call, you try to come up with a final end user solution. So the first diamond is something where you have discover and define. First you are trying to discover your problem and define your needs for that. Then you try to develop, brainstorm, come out with ideas, and then deliver the specific solution with the prototype. So this is what is your double diamond. So here I would like to mention there is one shopping cart example which would be very useful for you to understand what is double diamond. Now that actually I thought you all must have idea about double diamond, I didn't come up with that video. I'll try to show that video. Give me 2 minutes time. So anyway, initial insight, if you look at the slide, initial insight from wherein you are trying to understand the market and you are taking the customer empathy, you are trying to come out with the strategy, ideate and experience the strategy. So in all this, you try to plan, and then when you are executing your prototype, you test your prototypes and then finally build and you ship your product. So this is how your double diamond goes. Let me show that video so that it will be 1 minute time. Video available.
Yes, it is visible. It is visible, but it is not audible. No, ma'am. It is visible but not audible.
And if we
Yes,
here actually IDEO is trying to build a shopping cart. So how are they doing it? That's what we are trying to show you. Bindu, otherwise I'll share the link with you. Will you project it from your end? Probably then the audio will also be audible for the students.
ma'am, share it in the chat box. I will try to present it.
Yeah, that should be better. Wait 1 second. I'll do that. I think the audio isn't coming even this way, right?
Project. From California, the heart of Silicon Valley. These are designers at IDEO.
Can you please click on the subtitles also?
IDEO has designed everything from high-tech medical equipment, the 45-foot mechanical whale in the movie Free Willy, and the first computer mouse for Apple. Smith ski goggles, Nike sunglasses, NEC computer screens. Hundreds of products we take for granted.
The point is that we're not actually experts at any given area. You know, we're kind of experts on the process of how you design stuff. So we don't care if you give us a toothbrush, a toothpaste tube, a tractor, a space shuttle, you know, a chair. It's all the same to us. We want to figure out how to innovate by using our process, applying it.
Project leader is Peter Skillman, a 35-year-old Stanford engineer. Project leader because he's good with groups, not because of seniority. He's only been at IDEO for 6 years. The rest of the team is eclectic, but that's typical here. Whitney Mortimer, Harvard MBA. Peter Coughlin, linguist. Tom Kelly, Dave's brother, marketing expert. Jane Fulton-Suri, psychologist. Alex Kazaks, 26, a biology major, who's turned down medical school 3 times because he's having too much fun at IDEO. Safety emerges early as an important issue.
22,000 child injuries a year, and so they're hospitalized injuries. I mean, there are many others.
And theft. It turns out a lot of carts are stolen. As the team works, it becomes clear there are no titles here, no permanent assignments.
The other side says, it gives us a lot of help, says, be safe. Give you a big red ball on a post, and that says you're a big guy. If you got a ball, you're a senior vice president. You know, what do I get? The desk, the red ball, it's all the same. In a very innovative culture, you can't have a kind of hierarchy of here's the boss and the next person down, the next person down, the next person down, because it's impossible that the boss is the one who's had the insightful experience with shopping carts. It's just not possible.
The team splits into groups to find out firsthand what the people who use, make, and repair shopping carts really think.
Okay, go.
The problem with the plastic cart is the wind catches it. Yeah. And these things have been clocked at 35 across the parking lot.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. The trick is to find these real experts, and so that you can learn much more quickly than you could by just kind of doing it the normal way and trying to learn about it yourself.
From everything I read, these things aren't that safe either, you know? So probably the seat itself is going to have to be redesigned.
One of the interesting things for me is looking at how people really don't like to let go of the cart, except for the professional shopper, whose strategy is to leave the cart at various places.
3:30 in the afternoon, and the group is back at IDEO. There is no let-up.
Each team is going to demonstrate and communicate and share everything that they've learned today.
A shopping cart has been clocked at 35 miles an hour traveling through a parking lot in the wind.
We were in the store, 2 hours, and it was truly frightening just to see the kind of stuff going on.
You got to designate some people to make damn sure that the store owner's point of view is represented.
After 9 straight hours, the team is tired. They call it a day.
So,
Very cool.
well, that's great. Thanks a lot. We had a great time today.
IDEO's mantra for innovation is written everywhere. One conversation at a time. Stay focused. Encourage wild ideas. Defer judgment. Build on the ideas of others.
That's the hardest thing for people to do, is to restrain themselves from criticizing an idea. So if anybody starts to nail an idea, they get the bell.
The ideas pour out and are posted on the walls.
Oh, the blind, the privacy blind. Like when you're buying 6 cases of condoms, no one sees. If it doesn't nest, we don't have a solution for it.
Organized chaos. It's not organized. What it is it's focused chaos.
You're supposed to not with an idea that's cool, but with an idea that's cool and buildable. If it's too far out there and it can't be built in a day, then I don't think we should go there. Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of blown genius.
Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of the lone genius. If anything sums up IDEO's approach, that is it. Worried that the team is drifting, what can only be called a group of self-appointed adults under Dave Kelly holds an informal side session.
Four or five teams, and we give each team a need area. It becomes very autocratic for a very short period of time in defining what things people are going to work on.
If you don't work under time constraints, you could never get anything done because it's a messy process and go on forever.
Back at the shop, it is 6 o'clock. The 4 mock-ups are ready for showing.
Baskets also can be, if you think we'll have more volume, baskets that can be put in.
A modular shopping cart you pile hand baskets onto.
Things have been
A high-tech cart that gets you through the traffic jam at checkout.
That you could mount a scanner on the shopping cart so that you as the customer, as you pull it off the shelf, would scan each item.
One that's built around child safety. Another that lets shoppers talk to the supermarket staff remotely.
Yeah, where can I find the yogurt?
But the adults, again, decide more work needs to be done before the mock-ups can be combined into one last prototype.
Why don't we have all the carts come up here for a second?
I think you take a piece of each one of these ideas and kind of back it off a little bit and then put it in the design.
The design is still not there, but there's another motto at IDEO: fail often in order to succeed sooner. And some of the team will be up half the night trying to put together a design that finally does work.
Good.
So we took the best elements out of each prototype.
The cart, which is designed to cost about the same as today's carts, is different in every other way. What do you think?
Well, I'm very proud of the team. I think it's great. Does this work for you? Works for me great. It's also beautiful.
The cart's wheels turn 90 degrees so it can move sideways. No more lifting up the rear in a tight spot. And you shop in a totally different way. The bags are hung on hooks on the cart's frame. Remember, there is no basket here.
At first, I was a little shocked, but I think you have some fantastic ideas here. It needs a little refining, but I think that it's great. I mean, we would want them.
You also gave us some really good comments about how we could make this thing better.
A lot of hours. Also, an open mind, a boss who demands fresh ideas be quirky and clash with his, a belief that chaos can be constructive, and teamwork. A great deal of teamwork. And these are the recipe for how innovation takes place. This is Jack Smith for Nightline, Palo Alto, California.
Tonight, we're going to introduce you to one of the most innovative thinkers of our time.
Okay, so now you have seen that video that was basically talking about a shopping cart example. The people were there at David Kelly's office, IDEO organization. They were trying to remodel the shopping cart. So in the process of remodeling, what is that they were trying to do? First, they went to a supermarket. They tried to empathize with the people. What are the problems they were having with the shopping cart? After understanding the problems, they came back. They wrote down all the problems onto the a notice board sort of thing. They just pinned all the all the problems that they have mentioned onto that board. After that, then they took a day off. After that, they came back and they were trying to empathize with the problems of the users, and they were trying to come out with different ideas. They were crazy ideas, wild ideas, sensible ideas, whatever the ideas were. All the ideas were again put, they wrote them on a sort of slips, and then they pinned it onto the board. And then at the end of the day, they looked into the ideas from everybody in their team. They came out with whichever ideas are technologically and businessly viable. They finally freezed on those ideas, and then they started building the prototype model of that particular cart. After building the prototype model, they took that cart to the shopping market, and then they asked the customers, also the people, the sales people there in that shopping market, about the cart, how they are experiencing, their experience about the new cart. They tried to collect their opinions, and if something where there is really a serious thing that has to be analyzed or remodeled or redesigned or to be implemented again, they took up those suggestions and they tried to remodel it. But most of them, they came up with a positive thing about the new shopping cart. So this is how generally what do you call, a design thinking model works. So that is what even your double diamond talks about. So double diamond says, first you try to discover the problem. When they had to discover the problem, they went to the shopping cart, they took up all the problems, they tried to analyze the problem, and then they tried to define the problem. The defining the problem is trying to coming out with their need, pinning down their needs, their insights. You're trying to define all those things, and then they tried to ideate. They came up with all the wild, crazy, and innovative new ideas. They pinned down all the ideas. Among all those ideas, they again reiterated in an iterative process, and then finally they came up with some specific solutions, which came to a prototype, and they delivered the prototype. Now, among all this, the most important thing that you go into in this define phase, or when you're trying to define your requirements, is what is called as understanding or customer empathy. Understanding your market or trying to come up with your customer empathy. Now, what is this empathy? Empathy here, you do it through surveys, through interviews, you have various tools, and then examples of this empathy, so many other things. So this is the David Kelly, which you have been seeing, who works very crazily with IDEO. So what is this? What he has got to say? He says the main tenet, that is the main principle or the main basic foundation for your design thinking is empathy. Empathy for the people for whom you are trying to design your solution. So you need to empathize with those end users. So that is what is design thinking. That is what David Kelly believes with. So this is what a quick recap on the goals of design thinking, which I was talking before also. That is, whatever are the human problems, you try to take into consideration the human desires. What is that human needs? What is exactly the problems that they are facing with the shopping cart, or what are the problems that you are facing with some other things? So you take all of them into consideration, and then you see whether they are technologically feasible. Now, if you see the intersection of these two circles, human desirability and technological feasibility, it will give you some sort of inspiration. But all the inspirations may not lead to the solution, because technologically many things are feasible. I can buy an Android app-based mobile. I can buy an iOS-enabled mobile also. But if I try to buy an Apple product, it is very expensive, whereas I can get a Samsung mobile phone with a very minimum cost, right? So this is what is called as my human desire here, or human, what he wants to do is he wants to talk. He needs a device for communication. Also, maybe he needs a device for social interaction via your internet, and then WhatsApp and all. But this is possible via your Apple phone, and it is also possible through your Samsung phone. But for me, economically feasible is some things which most of the crowd looks for, right? So that is what is inspiring from having all the products in front of you. Which one is inspiring? So human desirability, you are trying to look with the technological feasibility. These two come up with some inspiration. And then if I'm trying to come out with business viability and what is human beings looking for, there I come out with many ideas. Like I have many crazy ideas and many good ideas, or many unimplementable ideas also. So I have all these different kinds of ideas that are coming up. If I look into the technological feasibility and the business viability, you are trying to implement your people's ideas through your technology and looking for the viability of your business. So that is where is your implementation coming into picture. So now all these three things, your ideation, your inspiration, and your implementation, all these three together is what it brings out your innovation. And innovation is the main thing for any of the product or any of the startup that you want to establish. So that is the final goal of design thinking. Engineering, just doing engineering, you will come up with an initial solution. But my initial solution is driven by what is called as your technological feasibility, business viability, and whatever are humans looking for or whatever are your customer needs. All these three together will lead to something what is called as innovation, which is the goal of your design thinking. So these are the steps of your design thinking. That is, first, empathize, empathy, that is develop a deep understanding of the challenge or the problem or the customer need or the customer insights. So that is what is called as empathy. Once I understood what the customer wants or what is the customer expecting, then I write down all his needs. Writing down his needs clearly, articulating the needs of the problem that you want to solve is what is called as you are defined. This is where you are defining all your needs. Then I come up with all the crazy implementable, unimplementable, all the ideas that I have on my mind. So the potential solutions. And then I try to brainstorm on that. I try to debate. My solution is technological feasible and then businessly viable. Economically it is possible. So I try to debate on all the ideas. Each one of them will try to debate. Whoever wins and whichever is a feasible solution. So that you will try to ideate. During this ideate, you have a lot of brainstorming going on. Then you try to come out after fixing upon some sort of idea or a problem, you try to design a prototype for your solution. After designing the prototype, then you engage in a continuous short cycle innovation process, wherein you try to test your solution. If your test fails, or in some parts of your product, if your test is failing, your product is failing through the test, then you again try to work on it. You try to improve your design. So this is how you generally go. And this is the steps of your design thinking. So now, if you look at engineering, in engineering, you don't have this iterative process going on. Design is one which is giving you to look into this. Design thinking is nothing but it's a common sense. Whenever you're trying to solve a problem, you're trying to look to solve the problem iteratively to come out with the best solution. So here I just said in the previous case, what is that you are doing? Now, how do I do that? For you to do that, you first learn from the audience. How do I learn from the audience? I sit with them. I observe. I immerse. I engage in discussions with those people who are having the problem. I immerse in their in their shoes and try to understand the problem. So that is how you try to do it. How do you define? You try to create a point of view from the user's needs and user's insights. What are their needs? So here you are trying to here you are trying to create a point of view and you try to define your needs. Brainstorm. Can I encourage any wild ideas? Maybe I can encourage some wild ideas, and these wild ideas may come up with some innovation. But are they technically possible? So you're trying to brainstorm with your ideas. So come up with as many solutions possible and try to encourage your wild ideas. That is what you're doing in your ideate phase. Then you are trying to build a model, one or more of your ideas to show to others and see whether your idea is good. A prototype is just a rough draft that you are trying to make out from all the ideas after brainstorming has done, whatever ideas you have freezed. From that, you are trying to build the prototype. And then you share your prototype and take your feedback from the original user, like how these in that video, David Kelly and his colleagues, they went to the shopping cart with the shopping cart that they have developed to the supermarket, and they took the feedback from the customers who are there and the salespeople who are there, and they checked whether it worked or it didn't work. So this is the test phase of your design thinking. Now comes your empathy. Empathy, what is this word called as empathy? There are two words which you always should try to differentiate: empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is wherein you are trying to show pity on somebody. Empathy is not trying to show pity, but you try to understand what exactly is he facing, what are his problems. You are trying to understand and share the feelings of the other person, and then you just don't understand and leave it there, but you also try to bring out or find a solution for that. That is what is called as empathization. So in the discovery phase, the first phase of your double diamond, wherein I said there are two phases in your double diamond. The first phase has two things, that is discover and define. The second phase has two things. If you another two things that you have seen already in your double diamond. That is, what are the two things that you have seen in your double diamond? The develop and deliver. So totally 4 Ds. First 2 Ds where you have discover, define in your first diamond. The second 2 Ds develop and deliver in your second diamond, right? So discover phase of your first diamond is where you are trying to empathize. I'm trying to empathize in your discover phase. So this you are doing in your discover phase. Okay. Now, how do I empathize? What are the things that are needed or required for me to empathize? You should be very open-minded. You just cannot close your mindset and then try to observe. You try to look very broadly from all the users' problems. Be very observant, keen observant. Try to understand. A keen observant is a case. Like suppose if I'm trying to develop, there are two aspects when you're trying to come up with a problem, solving a problem. The problem could be divided as a product or it could be divided as a service. Most of the projects that you take up as part of your engineering are services, I believe. You're trying to develop a web app, that's a product. I'm trying to develop an Android application, that's a product. I am trying to come up with a cloud technology and try to bring out some product, that is again a product. Then if I'm trying to already existing some kind of I can put it this way, you're trying to provide some security to some kind of service which is already available. That is a kind of service that you're giving. So in a regular routine or in your daily lives, most of the time that you are trying to solve using your design thinking are services. Like for example, if I have a traffic in one particular area, a lot of traffic is there, how to regularize the traffic? That is a kind of service that you're doing to the society. If I have a pollution in certain area, how do I how do I see that this pollution in that particular area is reduced? Maybe for this you will develop a product, but you are working on a service wherein you come up with a product which is absorbing the carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide, some poisonous gases that are released. I try to come up with a product which will try to absorb those particular things and they are not released into the environment, right? So the product is the development of, I mean, you are working on a development of a product for a service, and that service is reducing the pollution. So any problem that you are addressing in the society or in as part of your projects that you are doing in your undergraduation, they generally are of two types. They are either service based or your product based, and most of the time you try to bring up a service for a product, or you can try to bring up a product for a service, right? So if I am trying to work on a traffic regulation system, let us say an automobile engineer or a civil engineer, he wants to work on a regulation of a traffic in particular area. So he will go to that area and he will try to empathize what exactly, or what are the reasons, or what are the timings when the traffic is more, or if it is more throughout the day, what are the reasons. So for all these, when you go to that place, then only you can understand the problem better. And when you are going to that place and trying to empathize with all the people who are trying to use that road, then you are supposed to be very keenly observing that place. So that is the reason one of the requirement of empathy is keen observation. And then you should also be a very good listener. So standing over there, you should try to understand from the traffic police point of view and all the public there, why that road is being used more, or at what particular timings that road is being used more, or what are the reasons that you have more traffic on the particular road. So you are supposed to be a very good listener to empathize and understand the customer needs. And then you should be very curious, very motivated to solve the problem. You should be very curious to know what are the reasons for that particular problem. You should have that anxiety to understand the things there. So these are the four requirements. These are the four requirements that anybody who is trying to empathize with the problem, which is needed. That is, you should be very open-minded, you should be observant, you should be a good listener, and you should be very curious. What are the techniques which are involved in your empathy? Immerse. Immerse is, it means that you are part of the world of your users. Experience what your users experiencing. So you are trying to completely involve and then try to understand that, and then observe very carefully, take their suggestions, behavior, and then engage with the with interview. Engage. You try to engage by having interview schedules with those people, and then try to do this. Now, why do we need to empathize? Why? What is the reason that I need to empathize? First of all, I need to understand the problem. I need to understand the people. I need to know what the users think and feel about the problem, what users do and say about the problem, to see with a fresh set of eyes about the problem. That is where you need to empathize. I'll tell you a problem here in a place near Rajasthan. If you can see this picture, on to the left hand side, you have ladies who are carrying pots on their head, and you can see from their dressing, they are from basically some part of Rajasthan. These ladies are from. So now, what happened here is, there is a place in Rajasthan where NGOs tried to solve their problem. What was their problem? These ladies in their village, they used to carry water almost some 2 kilometers apart from the place they are living in. So all the ladies, they had to walk all the way to the place, fetch the water in the pots, and then get back to the to their homes. So NGOs, they tried to empathize with these women, and they said they had to carry this much weight and walk all the way long. So they tried to empathize, and they came out with some kind of ideas of building water tanks very near to their homes, and piping the tunneling the water from that 2 kilometers distance into these tanks, so that the ladies can just fetch the water from the tank into their homes. So they came up with some such kind of ideas for the welfare of the women, where then they need not walk all the way and do this. But with this idea, the women weren't happy at all. So when they were asked why weren't they happy, why is that these ladies were not that happy with these ideas, and then they were trying to reduce their laborious work they were doing, carrying water from so long from such a big distance. The answer they gave is, that is the time when they can talk and they can have some time and relax with the other ladies. So the whole day they are completely tied up with their either household work or their other works outside, maybe their other labor works which they are doing outside. So with all this, they never find a time to relax. And this is the time where they go for a walk to get water, and they have a chat and they have a good time with the other ladies, and they relax, and then they can come home. So they weren't happy with the solution that NGOs came up of building tanks near to their home. So this is the reason that you should try to understand the problem. They never said that there's a problem, but NGO looked at it as a problem. But then you should try to understand the people. Think what is the users, try to know what are the users thinking and feeling. You try to understand what are their experiences, what are they saying. So with a fresh set of eyes, you should look. That is the reason you should empathize with any customer or a user who has some needs. If you're coming with a solution, before the solution, try to empathize. Empathy is the main part of design thinking. First, try to go to the people who are having a problem, for whom you are designing a solution. Before you come up with a solution or with an idea, you try to first empathize. Ask them, question them, feel, try to understand, know their feelings. What are they thinking? What are they saying? What are they doing? You should know all these things. So that is what is called as empathy. This is the reason you are supposed to empathize. How do I empathize? Do I have any tools for empathy? Yes, there are various tools which are there for your empathy. What, how, and why. This is one of the tools that is there. We will look into all these tools. So what, how, and why is one empathy tool. AEIOU, activities, environment, interactions, users, objects, all these are your another tool that you have. Story, share, capture. You will have empathy maps. Assuming beginner's mindset. You're trying to engage with extreme users. Mind maps, powers of 10. So these are all different tools or various empathy tools that you will be working with. So you make use of all these tools for you to empathize with the users. So what are they doing? When I look at this picture, what are they doing? Why are they doing? So and then how are they doing it? So this was what your first empathy tool was, right? What, how, and why. And likewise, you have other tools, empathy map. I'll see, maybe I'll not be able to cover all these tools elaborately, whatever. These are various tools that you have. Anybody who is trying to empathize, he or she can use one of this tool and try to empathize. Now, I will show you one example using the tool, where you can say a mind map or an empathy map that we have designed for one example of our college, where we say solid waste management. You have a lot of waste that is being thrown out, dry waste and a wet waste. In the campus, even in your college, you may be having this problem. How am I handling this solid waste that is being thrown out? So how do I handle this? So I used an empathy map, and for this empathy map, I use something called as say, think, do, and feel. If you can see here, say, think, do, and feel. So now, when I say, what are some of the enlightening things that your users are saying about the problem? What exactly the users have to say about the problem? What are they thinking? What might the users be thinking? What can you guess about their beliefs? What actions and behaviors do you see? What are their emotions? How are they feeling? When I try to develop any empathy map, see how it's not that I just go, I sit, I ask them the questions, and then after asking the questions, I just write down those questions. No, write down the answers. There is a way. There is a strategy that is followed when you are trying to empathize. And for me to follow that strategy, I use one of these tools. And among these tools, which I have mentioned just before, one of the tool I have is empathy map. So now here, how do I do my empathy map? I try to interview the stakeholder. Now, who is a stakeholder? A person who is involved directly or indirectly in your problem. Now, if I talk about solid waste management in your campus, who is involved with your solid waste management? Everybody. The students, they handle, you also throw a waste. The faculty deal with waste. In and out, dustbins are available. The gardeners there, the housekeeping faculty, the management. So the parents also indirectly when they visit the campus. So all these are your stakeholders. Everybody who's involved with your problem, directly or indirectly, are your stakeholders. So I try to create an empathy map after interviewing the stakeholder based on the conversation and my own observation there in that particular campus. So now this is a project that has been taken up by one of the faculty from civil department and computer science department. They tried to interview the people on the campus. Now, if you see, this is an empathy map which has been built for the students, non-teaching staff, and the teaching staff. What did they say about the solid waste management in the campus? So, what did they say? They say trio dustbins are full and they are littered. Lack of dustbins for waste food. This is what the students and teaching and non-teaching staff said. So, when they went and they tried to interview, before finding a solution for the solid waste, they first wanted to talk to the people, try to understand exactly what are the problems. And when I try to come up with a solution, for that solution, first you should empathize with the various people who are involved or the stakeholders who are involved with the problem. So when I try to empathize, empathy is a way of creating a questionnaire. You try to create a questionnaire, you try to create a survey, you go and talk to those people. And then I also ask them, what did they do? They are using a common dustbin. What are they thinking? They are thinking that a separate dustbin, if it is available for food disposal, it should be good. And what are they feeling? They are hoping that in very near proximity, that means in a very near time, these dustbins will be provided. So this is that is what is their emotional feeling about the problem. So I came up with an empathy map like this. This is one of the tools for empathy. Likewise, when they try to empathize with the housekeeping staff regarding this solid waste, okay, that is garbage disposal, what did they say? They said, there is no way that I can segregate the waste. Housekeeping or the garbage disposal team, the kind of problem they are facing with the solid waste is they are not able to segregate, and then very difficult to separate when the quantity is very high. What are they doing? They did not separate, and they are not willing, unless things are changed, they do not want to separate also. They are putting everything into one thing. And what they are thinking, they're thinking that people should use different dustbins for different types of waste. This should come from us, from the people who are using the dustbins. That will make the housekeeping staff problem easier. And they were disappointed because how many ever number of times the administration has been informed about this problem, the administration is not taking care and they are not ready to listen to this problem. So this is what is the housekeeping's opinion after interviewing with them. Next, the gardeners. Now, what are the gardeners saying? The gardeners say, see, whatever waste dust is there, is there, when you are trying to burn the waste at one part of the campus, it is creating a lot of smoke, and they are not happy burning it by creating the with the smoke that is being created. But they don't have other option other than burning the waste. So what are they doing? They're just burning the dead leaves and other things. What were they thinking? They were thinking, is there any possibility that I can create a biocompost rather than burning this waste? So this is what is that is their thinking. And then what did they feel? They are willing to switch to a better option. They also feel that if we can give some prior knowledge how to prepare a biocompost, and if infrastructure is provided, they're ready to create a biocompost out of the waste that is being created in the college. So this is the opinion of the gardeners. Now see, this problem, if you are looking, this is not the problem of computer science, or this is not a problem of electrical engineer or a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer. This is a problem that has been that is being considered or taken by a campus. So this is a regular routine, daily routine problem wherein design thinking is involved. So how do I involve my design thinking? I try to understand the problem from different perspectives. Trying to understand the problem from different perspectives is what is your empathy. Not only that you just listen to them, how do I write them? There is a way how I write. I use a tool. The tool that I have used here is empathy map. I made use of an empathy map wherein I used their feelings and emotions by dividing them into 4 parts. What are they saying about the problem, and what are they currently doing for the problem? What are they thinking could be the better solution for a problem, and what are they feeling emotionally and ready to do for the problem? So I have taken up all this in the form of an empathy map. So this is one of the tools that I came, and I didn't when we were looking into the problem, I just didn't empathize with the people in the campus. I tried to empathize from the different stakeholders which are there in the campus, which are part of the campus. So this is how you do an empathy for any design thinking problem. This is not just for a solid waste management. This kind of thinking you can apply when you are trying to learn a subject. This kind of thinking you can apply when you are trying to develop, when you are doing a mini project or when you are doing a major project. For all these things, you can come up with this kind of thinking. Now, this is another tool which is being used wherein you have AEIOU activities. If I take, like I told, traffic, right? Traffic is one thing which I told. So if I take traffic, in this case, you can say what actions and behavior are people taking to reach the goals. How are they behaving? What is the environment? All in all, this entire setup is there. How are the basic interactions for the people to reach any goal? What are the objects? The objects there could be the vehicles, the traffic police system, your roads, uneven roads, or very badly shaped roads. All these are your objects. Who are the people who are there in this problem, and how do they engage for your goal to achieve? So you can. I have used the tool called as empathy tool, where I said, think, feel, and all. You can use a tool which is called as AEIOU. For a problem, you can sit when you are trying to empathize. You can empathize with respect to the activities. You can empathize with respect to the environment, interactions, objects, users. So from these various perspectives, you can empathize. You can empathize and you can create a sheet like this. The sheet that I'm showing you here, you can use activities. What are people doing? Write down here totally in detail. Environment. How are the people using that environment? What is the role of that environment? The interactions that any daily routines you see, any special interaction between the people or objects. All these kind of things you can write down. How I have just written in the empathy tool above, you can use this tool, that is AEIOU observation framework. Also, you can use for empathy. So like this, I have n number of tools. I can have powers of 10 tool. I can have AEIOU tool. I can have an empathy tool. I can have a mind map tool. So you can use any of these tools for the purpose of doing the empathy, interviewing the people, doing the survey, and finally coming out with all the points. Yeah, anyway, I already told you. People's group or any individual who have direct or indirect effect by the task that you are engaged with or the problem that you are solving with, they are your stakeholders. Now, this is one daily routine empathy examples. If you see, here in this case, Google Glass, many of you must have seen Google Glass. Google Glass was not that successful. Why was Google Glass not that successful? It wasn't that successful because no one could understand what is the need for me that having a glass on my face, I need to socially interact with the people. That is the reason Google Glass wasn't that successful. Now, this is another thing. If you can see here, this is an embrace warmer. On to the right side, you have an embrace warmer. When the babies were delivered in villages, you have this, some babies who deliver before the infants, immature infant babies, they need to be put into a sort of incubator. But then in villages, the problem was there was no electricity power, and certain times incubators were not properly available to keep the babies warm. In such cases, the designers, they had a direct contact with these remote villages. They went, they tried to empathize, and they tried to understand the people who were not able to reach the hospitals. Try to reframe the challenge that they had with this warming device, and they came out with one embrace warmer. This is a kind of new incubator where the baby can be kept within their homes itself. They need not go to a hospital. I mean, if they do not have a facility to go to a hospital, or if they cannot, I mean, or in the hospital itself there is no incubation facility, there they came up with this something called as Embrace Warmer. So this kind of warmer is which shows a people's need, which is very much required in the villages for the women with the infants who are born premature. Then technological feasibility is needed in this. Definitely, some technology is involved in designing this warmer, and also business viability. How many villages are really in need if I devise this, and is it economically feasible? If business, from the purpose of business, will it be viable? So these are the three aspects which I look into when I come out with some product or service. This is another example of your empathy. The same way as I talked about the ladies who have been walking long distances for fetching water. So in this case, the ladies, they came out onto the last figure, onto your right hand side, the last figure, if you see, they came up with some pulley which could drag the water to certain distance. So the ladies, to what extent they were able to pull this water and put it into their home, this is what they have worked on, and they came up with this design of a water wheel where you can just put the water into that wheel and you can pull the water and to whatever distance that lady is capable of. So they have empathized with some set of the women, with some hundreds of women, and then they came up with this water wheeler, empathizing with how much distance they can pull the water, right? So this is another empathy example. So these are all your online tools. Now, if you look at Coggle.it, here I can create a mind map. If I want to create some sort of posters and all those things, I can use Canva.com. These are online tools which are available for your design thinking, where you can create your mind maps, empathy maps, you can create posters, you can do many other things using these particular online free source tools which are available. The next topic is your customer need analysis. In your discover phase, you're working with what is called as empathization. You're trying to understand the problem from the user's perspective. Now, how do I come out with the needs from the, what do you call, how do I write the needs or analyze those needs? That is what is your define phase. So discover, define. These are the first two phases of your first diamond. The first diamond talks about discover and define. Okay, so now the define phase is where your needs are available. So here in my define phase mode of the design thinking, whatever I have empathized with my users, I will try to bring an actionable problem statement here by observing, inferring, immersing, and doing all these things. I come out with by focusing here in the define phase, I try to define, or I try to bring out the actionable insights. I try to write down my needs after doing my observations, interviews, surveys. After doing all these things, you come out with these things. So here, after observing and inferring, you are trying to bring out the actionable learning about the people. That is your insights. Well, this, as your time is less, I just want to show in the entire product development process, where exactly does your needs come into picture. This is a quick thing I'll move about. So this is, let us not go into the depth of each of the phase of this. The general product development process goes like this. You have a planning phase, after which you have a concept development, system level design, detailed design, testing and refinement, and your production ramp up. Okay, so these are the things that you have. So now in this whole thing, I have the second phase, which is called as your concept development. In the concept development phase is where your needs come into picture. my needs in the product development phase, the second phase is your concept development, and your needs come into picture in the concept development phase. So in the concept development phase, I try to identify the customer needs. This is basically your mission statement. Once you come out with your needs, you have come up with your mission statement. You're trying to establish your target specifications. You're trying to generate the product concepts. You select those concepts, test on that, and then come with the final specifications. Now, this is where I try to see whatever solution I am coming up, is that economically feasible? Am I competitive with all the other existing products in the market? And I try to build and test models and prototypes in this process. So customer need analysis is where you begin with a mission statement and then you end with a list of the customer needs. Now, before I go into the needs, we would like to focus on the different kinds of users from where you are, from whose perspective you are trying to solve the problem. There are three different kinds of users generally you will see in the market in everyday life. They are mainstream users who are viewed by most of the people, and you have if you see that spectrum the figure of spectrum that you have here, on either end of the spectrum, on one end you have the lead users, and on the other hand you have the extreme users, and on the top you have your mainstream users. Mainstream users are your larger number of population, and lead users and extreme users fall onto the each end of your spectrum. Now, what are the different approach I have? I have a customer-centered approach and I have a human-centered approach for solving any problem. We will look into this detailedly. All of you are aware of this. This is an MRI scanning machine. I don't know how many of you had an experience of going through this. Okay, how many of you had an experience of going through this MRI machine? This MRI machine is little a scary thing, especially may not be for elders, but for most of the time, even many adults are scared of going through an MRI scan. But kids, generally, they're really scared going through this because it makes all kind of weird and louder noises once you are into the tunnel inside. So now, when IDEO, it came up with a healthcare product of this MRI machine for the child cancer patients, especially, they tried to meet one of the child and they try to understand her experience of the MRI machine that the IDEO has developed along with GE Healthcare, and what they have wondered and what is that they thought should be changed is what you are seeing here. They met a girl called Sarah, who's an 8-year cancer patient, and then they were surprised to listen whatever IDEO has developed, the GE machine, in collaboration with GE, that the machine that they have developed, she was scared and she tightly managed life getting into that MRI. And she wondered if she can have an experience of fun like other kids getting into that machine. So then this made IDEO and GE think of something adventurous, not trying to dictate the solution, but some adventure experience can be created at the hospital for the patients who are below 15 years or for kids going through this MRI machine. So then they came up with this kind of machines developed, where once the child gets inside, he'll have a different kinds of rhymes listening. And once he's inside that lab where he needs to take an MRI scan, he has totally a playful environment, a completely jovial environment, all sorts of games can be seen, cartoons, different kind of cartoon pictures and all that will make him lively and jovial, where he'll not get scared and he'll enjoy taking that adventure into that MRI machine. So this is the change. This is how they have customized the general machine that they have developed into a human-centric approach. So their machine now has a human-centric approach. So they have empathized with the child cancer patients, and they have come up with a machine where they have where human sensibility is involved. So now, if you look at the kind of user types that we have been looking into, your mainstream users, their needs are very common, and they belong to the highest size of your market. Now, if you're looking into this, your market size is very big for your mainstream users. If you are looking into the lead or your extreme users, they have special needs and their market is very small. Okay, so this is how the graph of your user types looks like. I think this is self-understood now. I'll come up with an example of your lead users. So now, if now everybody today you have artificial intelligence, many of you have might have opted BTech computer science with AI also. So now in this case, if I have a self-driving car using your machine learning algorithms, so this is your lead user technology that you'll be using. If you are looking into an industry of energy, an electric company car is a lead user for efficient batteries. If I'm looking for high availability, such as cloud computing, any e-commerce company which is processing around 10,000 orders in an hour, for them, this cloud computing should be an available technology. Cosmetics, maybe each one of us are using cosmetics, but somebody from a fashion industry, for them, cosmetics is a lead users. They are people from fashion industry are the lead users for cosmetics. So this is the. I hope now you understand the differentiation between the mainstream users and the lead users. We all are using car, but for energy consumption, electric car is the main motto of the energy department. We all are using cosmetics, but the people from the fashion industry are the lead users for cosmetics. So this is how you differentiate your main users and your lead users. Extreme users are those users who have some special needs. Their needs are different from regular users' needs. Like now in this case, these people, they may use a cell phone, but maybe the font size of the cell phone should be big for these elderly people with some vision obstructions that they have. So if you're trying to address the benefits of the mainstream market, and when you empathize with these extreme users, sometimes it may bring benefit even the mainstream users. So the same example which I told you in this case, now if you look at this bald-headed fellow onto the left hand, so there may be some cost of some sort of prosthetic cosmetic thing involved for his makeup. So he's an extreme user. On to the right hand side, extreme spectrum right hand side are your lead users who works with the fashion industry, cine industry. And on to the top are your mainstream users who use every day, day in, day out, different kinds of cosmetics for their daily routine purposes. Now, this is one example where we have come up, where I have just come up because of this pandemic COVID-19. Before March 2020, your academics probably involved only with PowerPoint, your textbooks, and maybe sometimes some videos were played in your classroom and a blackboard. If you look into the extreme users, they had some sort of cell phone. On to the right, you have all your industry people who are using Teams software or who are using Google Meet, and they are doing online meetings, and they were working. That is all your software companies were doing it. And we never did this kind of online teaching priorly, right? So now, after March 2020, that is April 2020, the things have changed. Now Teams have come to the top. Laptops and other devices, they have come into picture because everything has become online. So this is how your perspectives have changed now. So priorly, we were the mainstream users for what do you call Blackboard and these things now. And then for laptop and team software and all, maybe your software engineers were the lead users for that. But now the things have changed. Those amenities which were part of your lead users have now become the part of your mainstream users as well. So this is how the pandemic has changed many of the things. Mask, for example, before March 2020, few people Maybe to avoid pollution or for some other reasons, they may use very rarely they may use to wear mask. And on the extreme users, like somebody who is sick, he may use to wear mask. The lead users of mask are all the doctors, anesthetists, and surgeons. They were the lead users for your mask. This is all before March 2020. Now, after March 2020, all of us have become the mainstream users for mask, and the lead users are those who are trying to customize the mask in a different way for their own faces. And those who rarely, I mean, depending upon the pollution or traffic pollution or maybe some religion based, they were using mask. Now they have become the extreme users. So this is how the users have changed now after COVID-19. Well, you can work with these kind of examples about restaurants, sanitizations, how things have changed before and after March 2020. I'll quickly wind off talking about these needs. Okay. Now, once you have empathized and then you have discovered the problem and you have written down all the problems that the users have explained and they have told you, how do I write these needs? My needs are basically a statement, an actionable statement, which has to be defined and written throughout your thinking process. So here you differentiate your needs into 3 types. That is your primary needs, your secondary needs, and your latent needs. So after choosing the problem, the next step is executing the empathy. And from the empathy, you try to define your needs, which are your insights. Primary needs are the exact problem, maybe 1 or 2. What is that? They're completely focused, very limited. What is that you want to solve? Secondary needs may be many, and additional. They may be, very much most required attributes. Latent needs are your hidden needs, and they are delightful attributes from the user group which have been asked. Now these questions, I'll just leave it. I'll just show you a few examples of the needs so that you'll have a clarity. Now see here, this mask itself would give you a good example. What is the primary need of a mask? To provide safety, quality, breathable. It should be breathable. There should be 3-layer protection. It should be snugly and very rightly fit. It should be easy to wear or remove and affordable and easily available. These are your primary needs. What could be your secondary needs? It should be easy to wash. Can I reuse it? Can I adjust the sizes? Is there a sponge near the nose piece? So this is your secondary need. What could be your latent or a hidden need? Availability. Is there any availability of proper disposable mechanism? An extreme user who is using spectacles, does he has the comfort of using a mask? And then can I recognize and understand the emotions of other persons through the mask? Are there any colorful attractives which will go along with my outfit? And for kids, is it very easy to wear? So these are your hidden needs which you need to work when you're trying to design a mask. Now, online teaching, from the teacher's perspective, what are the different online teaching? A primary need for a teacher to teach online, and a laptop or a desktop with proper bandwidth and the proper softwares and internet with all the students' data should be available. So these are the primary needs for a teacher. From a teacher's perspective, I'm talking about. Secondary need, the ambience, enough bandwidth. Can I access easily? Can I interact with the students through the software that is being given to me? What is the latent need? Is there any way that I can find out if a student is trying to give a proxy in the class? And his attention span is there or not, long hours with the screen and student interaction, can I do with it? These are all your hidden needs. So this is how you try to, once you empathize, this is how you try to, you try to write down the needs. Once I write down the needs and segregate them into primary needs, secondary needs, and latent needs, then I can try to come out with some ideation and, come out with all different sort of solutions, wild ideas or implementable ideas, economically, technically feasible ideas. I try to write down all those and then try to build a prototype. I hope this session here, I just tried to cover the first part, that is empathizing, one of the tool, empathy tool, and then how do I write down the needs customer need analysis. That is a defined part of your double diamond. So the first diamond is what I try to discuss and explain. Thank you. You have any doubts? I'm ready to take your doubts. Anyone has any doubts? You can type in the chat. I can explain.
Yes, participants, if you have any doubts, you can interact with the resource person.
All the participants, if you have any doubts, please write your doubts. Please give the feedback. Anyone, please give the feedback.
Design thinking is related to engineering drawing. Yeah, I said like design thinking is related to every perspective of life and every subject that you are learning. Definitely, when you are trying to draw, you will think, right? How do I, any projections that you're doing, isometric or orthogonal projections, if I remember way back when I learned drawing. So how do I project? You try to understand from different angles. So definitely there you have design thinking when you're trying to understand the problem. How this new course will help engineering students? Yes, this is what I have been discussed in the start of my session. When an engineering student is trying to solve any problem, he mostly thinks from the technological feasibility of the problem. But here, having learned design thinking, now he will try to learn the word which is called as empathy, understand the problem from all the perspectives and from all the stakeholders, and then come with a technical solution which is business viable. So this is where thinking from this different perspectives with common sense, with problem solving approach is where your design thinking comes into picture. And how do I empathize? I have different kinds of tools. How do I write the needs? I write it segregating them primary, secondary, latent. And then how do I brainstorm? How do I ideate? Brainstorm is one technique. Like that, I have n number of techniques even to ideate. Actually, we have done PG diploma in design thinking from MIT, where for ideation itself, he has given some 10 tools. How do I ideate? So learning these techniques, that will definitely help them in engineering, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Any doubts?
Yeah, that is what I just answered about design thinking. It will definitely help an engineering student if you learn the approach of design thinking. Well, actually, you all made it this session a very short 1.5 hour session where it was totally theoretical. But when we teach our students, it is totally completely active based, activity based subject that we do. When we are dealing empathy, we deal empathy for around 3 to 4 classes where we make our student try to empathize with at least 2 problems, use 2 different kinds of tools, and try to present it, make a presentation, or finally they come out with physical models. Just give me 1 second wherein I'll just show you something.
Ma'am, please turn your video once, ma'am.
I will 1 second. Let me finish this and I will.
Okay.
So this is, can you see my slides?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can see your slides, ma'am.
Yeah. So here, if you can see, this is a one particular model that our students have developed for roads in Uppal where they have many accidents happening. They went, they empathized, and they tried to find out, and they made a model for this, saying there is an unclear U-turn point, uneven roads, potholes, narrow roads. So many such things. Many of the youngsters, they have very unhappy. Our happiness index, India's happiness index is very, very low. So what is the reason that our young minds are so unhappy? So they worked on this, and they say there is a lot of stress, the corporate stress, study stress, parents insisting them. So for all this, they have come out. What could be a best solution? They made all this. So this is how our students, I mean, maybe in the short 1.5 hour session, I may not be able to explain you the entire the essence of design thinking, but when students take it as one whole curriculum, we in our college we have two levels of design thinking sessions, level 1 and level 2. In the level 1 course, they learn just basics of the first diamond, that is define, discover and define. And then the second diamond is what they cover at the level 2 in their third year. So we are teaching them at level 1 and level 2. And at each level, they try to work on the models, they build models, they make presentations, they build reports. So they come up with so many things. And then in the final examination evaluation, they try to, they try to present it to the examiner. They try to present their model, they try to present their presentation. They also make a report. So if you work thoroughly in this full-fledged way, definitely you'll understand the essence and use of design thinking for engineering course. I would still suggest that you have a course, a certification course for a week, which is completely activity based, so that the students will understand the essence of this course in depth.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Once again, we'll plan this course, ma'am, for 1 week.
Sure.
This is actually 2-day section, but certainly we'll plan for 1 week. So last time when I had attended the session at SRKR, at that time I'm thinking to plan this one for 1 week course, ma'am.
Okay, but I think SRKR also we had some sort of activities, right? We planned many activities. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It is a 1 week course, ma'am. So we had an activity.
And 1 week for a faculty having all the 2 diamonds at one stretch, they would connect very well. But for students, it takes little time.
Yes. Yeah. Any doubts? Shall we end this session? Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Ramya. Thank you, Satnarayan sir, for all the compliments. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bindu.
Thank you, ma'am. Hearty thanks to Professor Sandhya, ma'am, from VNR Vigyan Jyoti Engineering College, Hyderabad, for accepting our request for today's expert talk on design of double diamonds and examples on empathy inspired our participants towards the basics of design thinking. Once again, thank you, ma'am, for your valuable time and energy to inspire our young minds on design thinking. And once again, thank you, ma'am, on behalf of the ANITS management and on behalf of mechanical department and from behalf of ANITS INC, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Bindu. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, all participants. Now the today's second section will start, and today's second section, the eminent speaker is Professor Dr. K. Satyanarayan Garu. He is assistant professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, ANITS. Now, sir will start the session. Thank you. I hope all of you are enjoying the session. If you have any problem or anything, you can report us. You can tell us. Thank you so much.
Narayan, sir.
No, good morning, everybody. Is it audible?
You can present it.
In the chat box. One, sir. Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hello. I will share my screen, sir. Okay, all the
Yes.
participants, please make a note. This session will be 20 minutes presentation. Then at the end of the session, we are going to conduct multiple choice questions. Feedback form will share in the link chat box. So you have to give feedback on multiple choice questions. 10 questions will be there. Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Don't feel sir.
Sir, now you can share your screen.
Okay. Is it visible, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, sir. Welcome to all the participants of two-day national workshop, online workshop, Basics on Design Thinking, 4th and 5th December 2022. So I'd like to hearty thanks to all the participants who are patiently listening from yesterday. So this will be a review of all the 3 sessions which we have discussed. So myself, Dr. K. Satyanarayana Kadakam from ANITS Engineering College, Assistant Professor from Department of Mechanical Engineering, Ani Neerkonda Institute of Technology and Sciences, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. So this is a Department of Mechanical Engineering in association with ANITS IIC, Institutions Innovation Council, which is initiated by Ministry of Human Resource Development all over India. So in part of ANITS, IIC has taken initiative to conduct this workshop on design thinking. So there are 4 aspects of Institution Innovation Council. So one of the aspects is design thinking. Another one is intellectual property rights. So these are major aspects important for the students. So in this, I'd like to thank all the session keynote speakers from day one, Dr. Bindini Harika Garu and Dr. Ravi Shankar Garu, Sarapalli, Director of GVP Engineering College, and also session 2 today, Dr. N. Sanjay Rani Garu, Professor from CSC Department, VNR Vigyan Jyoti Institute of Engineering College, Hyderabad. So I'd like to thank our chairman of this Basics on Design Thinking two-day national workshop, Professor T. Hanumantrao Garu, and Principal of ANITS, and the convener, Dr. B. Nagaraj Garu, Professor in Theory of Mechanical Department. And special thanks to the coordinators who are organizing continuously without any interruptions. Our coordinators of this two-day workshop, Dr. V. Bindini Harika Madam and Dr. K. Bhavan Chase. So coming to today's session, the course content of the topic which we have covered from the last 2 days is design overview, design double diamond, discover, define, develop. Then inspiration behind design thinking, empathy, the key for design thinking. So that I am going to address a little more today in this session. Empathy, examples of empathy, why empathy, user empathization, and customer need analysis. So can somebody chat in the type box? Is it audible and visible? Then I will go further.
Yes, sir, it is visible and audible.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So just a brief review of why we are going for this. I am trying to, many students will ask, what is the purpose of learning? Why I have to participate in this workshop? So I give a brief description. This PPT will share in the next frame. So I just how to apply design thinking in your problems in order to generate innovative and user-centric solutions. So whatever you are trying to do some innovation, it should be user-centric. So how it will be possible? Only user-centric when you have the empathy. So here I am explaining this here. Some world's leading brands such as Apple, Google, Samsung, General Electric and have rapidly adopted the design thinking approach. So everybody have implemented. At the end of the session, I am going to show you what the difference by employing this design thinking in the institutions, how they have benefited. So I am showing a graph at the end of the session. So this design thinking course started from the leading universities of all over the world, Stanford, D School, Harvard, and MIT. So they have initiated this course. So made it very popular and effective. So now AICT has made it mandatory for all engineering college students should a multidisciplinary course should learn this design thinking. So I thank all the ANITS PhD students. More than 150 have registered in this course, and mechanical students more than 100 from ANITS, and all other colleges who have students participating and the faculties. I thankful to you. So please be patient and focus on this presentation. So origin of design thinking started from 1991. Then it went to actually David Kelly, the person who has taken initiative for advancement of this. So he has given an input to the IDEO company. So from traditional design working to the latest design environment. In 2001, so in IDEO increasingly, so as the case study madam has given also on this aspect of IDEO company only. So Tim Brown, CEO of IDEO, has written many books. So one of the book also, we have made it a prescribed textbook for design thinking subject. So focus on this topic. So the first thing we have to understand why empathy important. So various 5 stages madam already described. I just trying to explain the definition and why the student has to impart this skill. That's what we are trying to present here. It is a skill because unless until you practice it and you have to exercise your brain muscles and heart muscles, you will not get this empathy. So in this presentation, if I am trying to make at least one student, one person has been benefited and made empathetic to their approach of their personal life or professional life, then it is successful. So though empathy, we are able to observe the other people's shoe. So in short explanation or definition, see yourself in the shoes of people's other shoe. You can connect with how they might be feeling about their problems, circumstances, and situations. So feeling empathy means you have to feel about other person, the problem or circumstance or situation where they are in. So this is a skill, then you automatically have to put an endeavor to effort to understand. So some more points we are going to discuss further. So this is understanding deeper about the definition, and let's know what I explained. The same slide will be described here. So you can have empathy, it is a noun, but someone, or you can empathize, it's a verb. So you have to action, action verb. That means you have to put an effort consciously. Then only this empathy will come into your picture, whether it is technical or personal life. So the key for design thinking has been initiated from Stanford Social Innovation. So they have started this from 2010 onwards. They have made it as an official learning. So design thinking for educators. This is the IDEO Tokyo and its mission of refreshing Japan's creative leadership. You should remember his name. Kelly. Tom Kelly. So he is the IDEO partner. So IDEO has given him the partnership. So Tom Kelly is the best-selling author of. So his many books are there. So those who want to be deep or make it an aim of their future. One of the students in my design thinking class asked, if I want to make my future in the line of design thinking after BTech, then what should I do? Then you should go through the websites and the IDEO. They have many learning apps also there. They have many websites, online education materials also there, developed by Tom Kelly and also IDEO. It's the most leading company. So he is the most leading innovation speaker. He has many TED Talks also there in the YouTube. You can go through it. So culture of innovation and tap to the creative potential of their organizations. So he is mainly addressing to the organizations, the educational industry. So whatever organization may be, you can implement this. Applying and teaching design thinking. So as a student and as a teacher, how these things means, that means you have to aware the knowledge of the subject. So that's why the 5 phases of design thinking already madam had been explained in the previous class. So empathize, define, ideate, innovate, prototype and test. So ideate is the challenging assumptions and creating ideas for innovative solutions. So that is a brainstorming session. So there are many case studies also there to understand further about each topic. So our main emphasis on this two-day workshop is the basics. Basics means so you should know the first is empathy. So design thinking. So it is a logo or a symbol about the thought process. A person is sitting and thinking deeply. So a deep thinker is a person who adopted the design thinking in his life. So I'd like to know from the audience in the chat box. Can you please reply in the chat box your name and your roll number if you are a student. That so is it interesting? So please type your name and roll number just for the record's sake. I want to see all of your participants, those who are active in this session. If you have available to a chat box, you can type your name and roll number. Good. Nikita, Vijay Durga. Okay, thank you. Any others? Deepika? Good, good. So I just want to make it some alert. Good, good, good. Everybody is writing. Now I want to see all the participants. How many are active? Then only they are able to attempt this feedback session and MCQ session. At the end of this, after 20 minutes, I'll start the session in chat box. 10 to 15 minutes, I'll take the session to close. Okay, good. Vijay Durga, roll number 78. Any others? So please type on chat box. I'll continue the session. So the definition of empathy already madam has given a clear picture. So from our perspective, we have to see the stand in the shoe of other person. You have to see the world and appreciate them as human beings. So first, when you are seeing the reality, you have to see the other person in the world. See their world, so how they are being. So I have to see also previous slide. So the problems, circumstances and situation, all these three, the last line. So all these three things should be covered. So understand their feelings, communicate your understanding, appreciate them as human beings. So you should not work like robots. Rather, we are empathizing. So if we want to develop a product means we should have a deep sense of feelings for the customer. So it is a user design thinking. The main purpose is it is overtaken all the fields just because of this one aspect of design thinking, empathy. You have to feel the customer need. Then you have to address the solution as per the need of the customer. So if you see mapping of empathy, already madam has been said, just reviving. So what they said, what they did, what they thought, and how you felt, what they felt in your presence of questioning while inquiring. So these things are part of empathy. So unless until you are aware of this knowledge, how to see the world, how to feel with the other person, so you have to develop the skill. Then only you are able to understand the need of the person to develop an innovative product. So if you are able to understand this one point at the end of the session, then our 2-day workshop will be successful. So you should feel empathetic with your customers or the product you are trying to innovate. So there are many aspects and methods are there for learning this. I told you to learn about the subject, to understand deeper into the deep aspects of this knowledge on this empathy. So there are many other. I am just trying to explain one or two. So ask 5 whys or assume the beginner's mindset, what, how and why. So build empathy with analysis. So engage with extreme users, story sharing, capturing the body strong. So create your journey maps. So before, during, and after, these are all journey maps. So that there are some aspects of trying to understand the sign to understand the customer's needs. So these are different empathize methods. So you are the designer and the user. So in between is the empathy. If the empathy is lost, then your purpose is lost. So the purposeful innovation is only possible when you are a customer users in your mind. So you have to feel empathy for it. So next step is analyzing and synthesizing. It comes to the technical aspect of your design. So we are talking about the beginning, the first stage. So the feelings has to be induced in the student. So first stage is empathize, then second stage define, ideate, prototype, test. So all these things, this is a non-linear process. It's not linear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's non-linear. So it's connected from beginning and then again it reiterates, then again it goes. So if someone asks, is it linear or non-linear? So design thinking is a non-linear process. So coming to practical aspect. So already some of you are doing the course, so I want to show you. This is a sticky note. You can take any sticky note. You can do it in your own home also. Daily schedule you can write down, or you can take a brainstorming session on the daily plan. So many exercises also I have given to our students. So empathy. Empathy is the key for your design thinking success. So yesterday, Ravish Shankar Garu also has given many aspects on the storytelling, inspiration, ideation, and implementation. So unless until you got the inspiration and the story behind the design, then only you are able to go forward. That's why understand, observe, POV, ideate, then prototype, test, storytelling, pilot, then business model. So these are the different aspects of implementation. Inspiration, ideation, implementation. So here one YouTube link also there. Bhavan sir would like to do it. Play 1 minute. This is only 1 minute only there. Shall we share
it in the chat box?
Share chat box, sir.
Sir, you can share from there. Okay. It's connecting.
Start it only. Start it only. Yes, sir. So this link tells about the design thinking process, or a student how he can take it into practical action. Okay, sir. I think meanwhile I'll continue the session. I am trying to paste it in the chat box, sir. So the thinking process has 3 steps. You have to feel, you have to will it, then you are able to experience that. So consciousness is called thinking, feeling, willing. So when you are trying to empathize something, means you have to start with the thought process of thinking. Then next one is feeling. So you have to feel the other person. Then only you are able to will it to the need of the customer. So already madam has explained there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. So empathy, here the picture is clearly given. So sympathy is some sort of not a good sign, but we are trying to do something to the person, but the empathy is trying to address the person's feelings. So empathy is the key to success communication. Empathy is the key to successful authentication of the how bad loser you are. Just only trying to say something, but you are not addressing the need of the person. So sympathy is like you are expressing the words only, not trying to say the meaningful expression. So that's why the key is empathy. The examples of empathy, there are many aspects, examples are there, I'm not going to describe. So while in the conversation with the students or Sir, I would like to play the chat box screen, sir. Just now I have posted. One day, sir, the video. So a student gets bullied or overwhelmed with a coworker. A friend fails in the test. So I will feel empathy. These are examples of empathy and different scenarios. So employee with a bad day, a client struggling with loss, a patient in pain, or a friend during a breakup, a sick spouse, or putting an animal to sleep. So you have to, these are all, you are bringing the feelings into the action. So you have to feel, you have to think, you have to feel, and you have to will to do the action. So these are all, you have to develop the skill set. It's not just sufficiently learn theory. One of the students asked feedback how we are understanding the subject of design thinking. The first thing he has said is, apart from learning for mocks and for learning as a course for the semester, it's a lifetime application. It's a lifelong application for all the students who are learning. So this was initiated by our AICTE government. So we should be thankful for them about design thinking course. So you learn not only for the during the course, after the course also, throughout the life, you can feel empathy and apply this empathy. Any questions you can type in the chat box. I am going to close the session in 5 to 10 minutes. Only 10 more slides are there. Then we will share the link about the feedback form. Okay? So the real challenge in life. So everyone knows empathy is important. So everyone knows empathy is important, but recognizing in real life can be a challenge. So when you are bringing to practical action, you need to be a good audience, a good practitioner. So that is the challenge. So you have to consciously apply this, consciously feeling, thinking, willing. Okay. So then genuine examples of showing empathy will help you identify situations where you can show empathy in professional and personal settings. Okay. Yes. So the strengths, where you are a student, so you know, so how you are talking with the teacher and the teacher talking with the student, or you are talking with a fellow student. Showing empathy improves your relationships. So strength is how well you are being connected with the other person. So it will improve your relationship. So it is also applicable for as a team if you are doing in your lab an experiment. So then automatically your 4 members will be a team of the relationship will also it will build. So the empathy is the key. So you have to see the other's perspective. I'm trying to explain. The start by thinking about other person's perspective and what that person must be feeling. Then write one of these empathy statements. So these are some statements or empathetic statements. So this is a conversation between the student and teacher. So I'm sorry, this is so discouraging right now. So it sounds like you are doing the best you could, even though it was difficult. So it has to be difficult to deal with this. So there are some other empathetic statements. So empathy is the key to understand your audience. So to whom you are speaking, to whom you are addressing. So these things possible only when you are empathized. So the empathy is the key. So today's session, if you are able to carry this one word of empathy, then your life will change. So now see here existing idea and the new idea, existing user and new user. If you draw a graph, so if you are engineer means automatically everything will be expressed in terms of graphs. So whatever you are learning, whatever you are thinking, what you are implementing, in terms of graphs will be expressed, because it is the way of learning. Engineering, somebody asked a question, engineering drawing. Is it how it is connected design thinking, engineering drawing? So engineering drawing has a universal language. It is applicable for all over the world. Then we have design thinking also a process for the innovation and also creating new products and services to the customer's need. So that's why this has to be taught a student from the second year onwards. It will be built into his character, built into his learning curriculum. Once he is out of the society, out of the college or institution, then he is become, when he reaches that society, he is feel empathetic to the services of the society. So what is the service? User empathization, customer need analysis is another topic of last topic of our today workshop session. So what are the service needs? So if you are a company, you are trying to do a service. So obviously the customer expects these things. Service needs. What is the customer? When your customer get in touch with customer service, they want empathy and understanding from the people assisting them. So example, mobile phone. So many phones with many features and they are developing from 2004 to 2020. If you see, I have changed so many phones, but that is from the what is called operating with the hand switch phones to no touch phones, and also with the high capacity RAMs and also processor and also memory. All these things are increased. But what people want is the customer service. We should feel empathetic the need of the customer, fairness in dealing, transparency in their services, and also dealing with the customer. So whatever standards given by the company, it should be transparent to serve the customer. So control options, information, accessibility, all these things as per the standards they should follow. So this is also another aspect of their thinking. So empathization of customer need. As I told in the beginning, there are different methods. One of the methods is brain body strong. This act of physically experiencing a situation in order to immerse oneself fully to the user's environment. So user environment, immerse. Another quality of empathy is immerse. So be with them, live with them, then share with them. Then also you are able to understand their problem. So I'd like to share an example. This immerse means I was after BTech I have joined as a project associate in IIT Delhi, and we have a project from Textile Ministry, 1 crore project. They have given for IIT Delhi Mechanical Department. So as a research associate, we have a team of 10 members. We given a task for a carpet industry. So manufacturing machinery for carpet industry. So there are villages, people who are near to Agra, Jaipur, Haridwar and Srinagar. All these people are old traditional looms for manufacturing the carpet. Because all poor countries, they use more carpets, food carpets. So our IIT Delhi got the chance to manufacture the products. That means you have to start from scratch. So you have to empathize, you have to define if the problem, ideate, then prototype it and test it. So this process has run for 3 years from scratch. So we went to the customers and done a survey to the village people. We shared with them and we have taken feedback. So they are using very old techniques or methods. So they don't know what is the gear, what is the mechanism, strength of materials, they don't know. So they don't know the analysis part of. So all these things we have to assist in technology to implement into latest materials and tools. So our design team has developed a first empathizing, to stay with the people, immersed with the people. So you understand the user's environment, so what they are lacking, we are trying to help them. So first step of empathy is with your user is to suspend your own view of the world around you in order to truly see the through your user eyes. So first of all, our assumptions should be suspended. Rather, you should see what they are truly. You have to see through their eyes. Then only you are feeling empathy. So when it comes to design thinking and human-centered design, it's time to stop guessing and then start gathering real insights about the user. So you should not do guessing business. So your engineer means you should be everything is attended, authenticated, and supported by literature, supported by evidences and experiences. And also it should be proved with the theory and practice. So that's why we have so many theoretical classes, so many practical classes, labs. Bhante sir, feedback link is ready. I'm going to start the class in 2 minutes.
Sir, yes, sir, already we have shared.
I already shared in the Okay,
Yes,
all
sir.
the people, please go through the, I'm going to stop the session in 2 minutes. Please go through the link, feedback link. It is about both feedback and comes attendance, both, and also multiple choice questions. The same link will cover all. So, user empathization. So it should, is about trying to see and any user perspective on the product that you are working on. It's about being able to identify with them and represent them when making decisions that might benefit or hurt them. So empathy means you should feel it is how it is benefiting, not hurting. Should make a decision as a person who are representing. So need analysis. So empathization and need analysis will go together. So when you are trying to understand the need, then user empathy is important, awareness at the scale. So you should keep growing the awareness. As we are trying to implement more and more the technology, you should be able to more and more aware of the need of the person. That is the need analysis. Example of mobile application, very, very helpful and understandable for a student context. So customer need analysis, there are 4 main customer needs that entrepreneur or a small business must consider. This what is the, whatever design or whatever product or whatever service you do, it is has to be evaluated these 4: price, quality, and the choice. Because if a person has his own tastes and preferences, even though your price and quality may vary from person to person, but the choice, the taste and preferences of each person, you have 60 students in your class or 70. So everybody have their own tastes and preferences. You should keep in your mind while going for the innovation, and also the convenience. So all the people are not in the same trajectory, same area of presentation, because some people are in very hot area, hot countries, some are in cold countries, and all some people have so luxury, necessity, and I have told my students also, but want has 3 aspects. One is the necessity, the comfort, and luxury. So the convenience vary from person to person. So this is what I have told in the beginning of the class. I'm trying to close this last topic, the last slide of the presentation. Companies in the index. So this is going to be one of the question also in your feedback. So there are companies, Apple, Coca-Cola, Ford, Herman Miller, IBM. So like this, many are there. Therefore, Nike. So if you want to go through it, there is a website also there. So they have implemented design thinking. So those people who have implemented the design thinking index, those people who have not implemented the design thinking, with the same, the 10 years span of investment of $10,000, so design centric companies would have yielded returns of 228%. So your company growth has from June 2003 to 2013, we implemented design thinking. So implementing all these 5 stages, sometimes they'll say 7 also, design thinking process. But as a technical learning purpose, we are going for 5. You can see the graph, how much variation is coming. So 228% of variation of positive implementation. So this should be implemented all the industries, all educational environment, and also all the organizations. The design thinking aspect, so starting from empathy. So thank you very much for all the participants patiently participated in this 2-day workshop. Now 152 students are very active and live, and others also can, feedback can be filled. I am thankful to the Boniface Garu for continuously monitoring this background of this WebEx platform. So the feedback should be filled. Only will get the e-certificate will be provided for all the participants. So if you have any questions, please type in the chat box. I'd like to convey my gratitude and heartfelt thanks to and regards to Professor T. Hanumantrao Garu, Chairman and Principal of Onyx Engineering College, who have given these facilities and opportunities for conducting this seminar, 2-day national seminar. And I would like to thank Dr. B. Nagaraj Garu, Convener and Professor and Head HOD of Mechanical Engineering, Department of Onyx, for inspiring and igniting the idea for conducting these basics of design thinking, especially our mechanical students of third year 3-1 SEM, they have this design thinking subject. For CSE students in 2-1 they have. So this will be a boost for all the students. Take inspiration to go through the further of these learning sessions. So please fill the feedback form. So I'd like to convey my hearty thanks to our 2-day online workshop conveners, basic design thinking workshop conveners, Dr. V. Bindini Harka Madam Garu and J. Bonpej Garu, the coordinators of this 2-day national online workshop, and continuously monitoring and sending mails to all the students. More than 350 students have been registered, and yesterday we have the highest participation. And I will thank to all the students for taking initiative for participation, and all the faculties from the other colleges and Anish College who have participated. The students from other colleges also taken initiative for participating. I'm very, very thankful to them. So stay safe, stay protected from corona, and stay safe. So no carelessness until there is a cure. So thank you, a big thank you for all from the staff and management of ANITS. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box, or any students would like to speak or summarize from this session. Bonte sir, please ask students to raise their hands so you can unmute them.
Thank you very much, sir. Students, if you have any doubts, you can ask to the resource person now.
You can type in the chat box, or you can directly speak.
You can unmute now, sir. If they have any doubts, they can ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words and for your session. Sir, students and the participants, all the participants, thank you so much for listening the speech. And please share your feedback on this today workshop on design thinking. Please, anyone share your feedback on this today workshop. Thank you. Thank you so much.
From CSE department students, anybody would like to speak? From mechanical, anybody students like to speak?
Sir, thank you, sir, for the session. Learned so many things from the yesterday's and today's session, sir.
Your name?
Yash Agarwal.
Name, your name.
Yash Agarwal.
Okay. Good, thank you very much. Any others?
Sir, thank you so much, sir, of this basic on design thinking. It was fantastic. 2 days enjoyed.
So please share your name and your institution.
Thank you, Ahmad. You are from which branch and which college?
I am mechanical, ma'am. I'm Anit's college here.
Okay, very good. I think you have enjoyed and learned this session. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
Any more feedbacks? Please share your feedbacks.
Ma'am, I'm from CSE.
Okay.
Thank
CSE
you
College?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
From CSE from Minds. From behalf of all CSE, I would like to thank all the professors and teachers who have been taken this session, and it's very successful, ma'am. We are very happy, and it's really enjoyable. We never felt it's like boring. Everything detailed, everything is explained in detail way, and we are honored to have this workshop, ma'am. And thank you everyone, and thanks to Satyanarayan sir for taking ahead and taking and conducting the workshop, and thank you all teachers who took part in this. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Usha. Your words have inspired and motivated us to do many more these type of workshops. Thank you, and we'll do more workshops and which are very helpful for you also. Thank you. If you give such a motivation, certainly we'll do many more workshops. Thank you, Usha.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and we are ending this session. Thank you. Soal, thank you. Okay, sir, we are ending this session, and once again, I want to thanks to the principal, sir, Professor T.V. Hanumantrao. So I was very much thankful to our beloved HOD, Professor B. Nagaraj Garu, and IIC chairman, IIC convener, Professor Ratan Kumar Garu, for doing this workshop. And I was very much thankful to JV Bantesa Garu for supporting me from starting to till end for conducting this workshop. And also I thankful all the eminent speakers of today's workshop. And also I was very much thankful to Dr. K. Satyanarayan Garu for supporting to do these type of workshops. And I also thankful to all the participants who had patiently listened this workshop. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Very much. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Bankesh, sir. Bankesh, sir, any limit is there for the submission of Google form? Feedback?
No, no limit, sir. To get the certificate feedback, you need to fill the feedback form. Without filling the feedback form, they won't get the certificate.
So you will share the link in the mail also?
Yes, sir. Later I will share.
Okay, so by Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll give the certificates
Okay.
to the students.
You can give the feedback later also. We will be sending the link to your mails. Those who attended, to them I will be sending the mail. So through that you can give the feedback. After getting feedback, you will get the certificate within 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sachinara sir. We are concluding the session.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think